Let me start by quoting this. This is by one of the HIV advocate who said once that at the end of the day, it's not the virus or the disease that kills people, it's the hatred and discrimination. And this is not only once that he said. And I came across very many stories when I work in the field for the last many years, almost like 17 years, 18 years, by people who inject drugs, by transgenders, by female sex workers, by male sex workers, by prisoners. And they said almost the same thing to me. They said that it's not the virus, it's the behavior, it's the attitude that people deal with us. Then how they people deal with us? Look at this picture, take a pause and reflect. This is Devani. I can never forget her. This is a transgender person who left us 3 years back. She moved from Karachi to Peshawar in order to get the treatment. Her own community abandoned her. She was HIV positive. Look at the place where she lived, on trash. She couldn't survive. Believe me, I couldn't forget, it was the third day of Eid and I received a call. And I couldn't help her much because it was the last stages and she was looking after for the treatment, and I called the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa AIDS control program. We provided her with the support and we couldn't help her much. When it comes to Pakistan epidemiological snapshot, 150,000 people are estimated people living with HIV/AIDS. Now look at this. Only when it comes to the National AIDS Control Program, there are only 25,000 people, those who are registered with National AIDS Control Program. And out of those, only 15,000 people are there, those who are getting treatment. Now do a quick calculation. Out of 150,000 people, there are only 15,000 people, those who are getting treatment, which means what? 10%, right? We are the 90%. How many of you are aware that, just raise your hands, any HIV positive person can live a normal life? Very few. Yeah? How many of you are aware that there is a free of cost treatment available in Pakistan? Again, very few. My young fellows are sitting here and they are even not aware, right? Think about a person who is living in a rural area, living in a village. If that person is not aware, then what? Now we have the targets, the global target, which says that the 90% of the key population are whom? These 15,000 people are which population? The people who inject drugs, the transgender, men having sex with men, the female sex workers, the prisoners. Now these people need to be tested. 90% of these people need to be tested. And 90% of those who are diagnosed positive need to be on treatment. And 90% of those who are on the treatment their virus need to be suppressed. Why their virus need to be suppressed? Because if their virus is suppressed, they means that they are uninfected. If undetected virus means untransmissible. Their virus is undetected, is untransmissible. This is simple. That's why their virus need to be suppressed. Their virus need to be dormant in their body. They cannot then transmit to any other person. Now look at this graph. In Asia Pacific, India, Indonesia, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam. In all these countries, the infection is decreasing. Unfortunately, Pakistan is the country where there has been 45% increase from 2010 to 2017. 45% increase. And it's the second largest country in Asia Pacific. And the first one is Philippines, 174, and the last one is Malaysia. Now, if we still have these myths that need to be busted, I just brought with me the small pocket card, which is explaining in both English and Urdu what are the mode of transmission. Because most of the people think that by sharing glass of water with HIV positive person, that can transmit the HIV virus. If you kill the HIV positive person, you can contract HIV virus. If you hug HIV positive person, you can contract HIV virus. These myths need to be busted all across. This is very simple. I have been working for the last many years. I have been going into their homes. There was a time when hardly any person in HIV who has an HIV virus with whom at home I was not visiting in Pakistan. Now look at this map. World AIDS Day has been commemorated every year in Pakistan on 1st of December. There are 33 treatment centers all across Pakistan providing free of cost treatment. But even then the question is, why 10% people are accessing treatment? Why 10%? Where are the 90%? The question that comes into my mind is that HIV, the science has made exponential progress, but when it comes to the mindset, it has not been changed. It has not been changed. We have our belief system somewhere that stops us treating people equally. Think about a person among us sitting with HIV positive status. How would you treat them? Have you ever met, just raise a hand, have you ever met with any person who is HIV positive? Only one, right? I mean, think about a person who is a transgender person. How would you treat them on the streets? Think about a person who is, a person who is injecting drug user. How would you treat them? If we as a society treat them so, in a so unequal way, would you believe that they will be coming to the healthcare setting? We are not. We as a society have such a patchy social fabric that we are not treating them equally. Now look at this. This is the integrated biological behavioral survey that we do after every 4 years. I will just provide you with a very one figure in that. Being discriminated, people who inject drugs, they report 63% they have been discriminated. If 63% they are reporting that they have been discriminated, are we expecting that they will be going to the healthcare facility and accessing testing and treatment facilities? They will not. They will never. Discrimination, only discrimination. The transgenders, physically hurt or threatened with a knife, 53%. Having sex without consent, 55% they reported. Female sex workers, 52.4% physically hurt. Men having sex with men, 56.6%. These are the officially data which has been recognized by the government of Pakistan. Now, this is something very interesting. My all young fellows are sitting over here. Pakistan Demographic Health Survey, which has been recently launched 2017-2018, they said 2% of young women and 6% of young men have comprehensive knowledge of HIV. Only 2% and 6%, right? And think about the stigma and discrimination. Think about that. What can we do then? How can we change the belief system? How can we change and how can we expect that they will not discriminate? Think about that. And how can we find those people, those who are hiding in their own closets? So these are some kind of a questions, thought-provoking questions that I really would like you to ask yourselves as well. Because you are the future. Arunadhati Roy, I don't know how many of you know I mean, definitely you must be reading them. She said, and I really love her, you know, like once she said, there are really no such thing as the voiceless. They are only the deliberately silenced or the preferably unheard. There are no such thing voiceless. Well, I mean, we often in the United Nations system, we said, well, they are the people, those who are voiceless. But she said, they are deliberately silenced or preferably unheard, because nobody hears their voices. Now, what we did, we captured some of the stories of these positive people, and I will, you know, like, where is Ahmed? I will send the link to Ahmed. These are all the stories of positive people from the field, what they got through, what they came across. There are some stories, and I will just quote two. This is Saima. She is positive. With her consent, I am just sharing her story with you. She is 30, and she said that she has abscess on her leg, and I don't know, you know, like, this is her word. She said, might so be a doctor or a quack. She don't want to call her a doctor, but she said a doctor might so be use some kind of a reused syringe. That's why she became HIV positive. She has 3 daughters, but then she had an access to the antiretroviral drugs. By the way, the treatment of HIV is called antiretroviral drugs, which is right now in Pakistan is free of cost. Testing is free of cost. Treatment is free of cost, but nobody, you know, like only 10% is accessing that right now. And because the, you know, like, she got an access through the network, and she has this hope. She overcome her self stigma because she got an access to the network. That's why she overcome her self stigma. This is Javed. One night I was kidnapped and raped by a group of men, and that was the day I decided to quit dancing for money at a circus. Last summer I found out that I was HIV positive. The social isolation I have had to face would be unbearable. This booklet is full of such stories, but then there is a hope, and they overcome their stigma slowly and gradually. I am devoted to her. I mean, he is talking about his wife, and the sewing machine now. He has now become a tailor. I am now happy to access ARVs. It makes me feel healthy and active, and so I make it a point to take my medicines regularly, because he is now, with the passage of time due to the counseling, he is now treatment adherent. Another booklet. This is the Transgender Guides. We also captured the stories of the transgenders from all over Pakistan. This also, you know, like, encapsulate all the stories from the transgender from different part of Pakistan. And as, you know, like my previous speaker said, the Transgender Act has been passed by the government of Pakistan, but when it comes to implementation, we have lot much to do about it. It's a way long that we have to go about it. Now, the stigma and discrimination, there is a difference between that. What's the difference between that? The difference is, I have something in my mind, me as a doctor, for example, I am not a doctor by the way, but me as a doctor, for example, I have this belief that this HIV positive person must have done some immoral activity, and, well, you know, like, that's why he became HIV positive. No matter what, by might so be it was, you know, like a on-screen blood transfusion, that's why that person has become HIV positive. But since I believe that this person has done some kind of an immoral activity, that's why he became or she became HIV positive. When this person came into my clinic, I will tell my staff nurse, well, you know, like, I would like to see this person in the last. That act of mine is a discrimination, but my belief is this is called stigma. Now, look at these. I mean, these are the graphic illustrations. This person on the right is HIV positive, but the rest are happily enjoying their life. This isolation is further stigmatizing this person, discriminating this person. These are the realities of life. Now, look at this. These are some of the graphic illustration that I am just putting forward to you, but these are the realities that is happening in the hospitals. this person who is HIV positive, they are facing these kind of things, these are facing these kind of discriminations because the doctors are not, the healthcare providers are not sensitive enough to how to really provide sensitize in a sensitized manner the care to the HIV positive people. Look at them. This is a transgender person who came to the healthcare provider to get herself tested or treated. Do you think this person will come again? The kind of a looks that this doctor is having and a double glove that the staff nurse is wearing, never. Have you, I mean, this is the reality, and they do report to us, and they, I mean, these are the kind of reports that we are getting through the service every time. Now, how many of you have ever read the Constitution of Pakistan? Just raise hands. Do read that. Very few. Again, Constitution Article 8 to 28 provide every citizen of Pakistan with the fundamental rights, no matter what gender orientation, what sexual orientation do you have. So, if the transgender population, if no matter the HIV positive person, whoever the person is, I mean, if their rights are violated, the Constitution of Pakistan do provide them with their rights. I am just quoting one quote by the Ambassador Deborah, and she is one of a rights advocate when it comes to, we will not see an end to the epidemic as long as people living with HIV/AIDS feel unsafe and are forced to the fringes of their community. We will not see that. By the way, when it comes to the sustainable development goals, which we are all embarking upon, all the member states are embarking upon, by 2030 there are 17 goals that each member state commit to, and the third goal is about health for all. I mean, the 3.3 indicators say ending AIDS by 2030. I mean, how can we do that if we are going to stigmatize these key population when they are forced to the fringes of communities? Shah Shams Tabriz, you are all must be aware of, right? He once said the real dirt is not outside but inside in our heart. We can wash all stains with water. The only one we can't remove is the grudge and the bad intentions sticking to our heart. But I think it's now time. It's now time to really remove those stains of stigma and discrimination. That needs to be removed. Why so? Because if our social fabric will continue to remain in such a patchy way, we will never be able to survive in a more peaceful manner. That difference of being unequal, if that will continue, we will never be able to survive in a more peaceful manner. And last but not the least, the Michel Sidibe, the executive director, he once said, human rights violation, fear, prejudice, stigma and discrimination persist. If we do not confront discrimination, stigma and discrimination, I can say today with authority that universal health coverage will remain a pipeline dream. And I would like to convey my, I would like to end my talk by saying one thing to all of you sitting here. I see you, each one of you, as a force, as a powerful force to change the future of this country by ending discrimination and stigma against people living with HIV/AIDS. Thank you so very much.